Welcome to the Saturday edition of Box Seat. I'm Adam McGrath and again joined by Ian Lenson. And Ian, I'm really looking forward going through these 8 races. But firstly, we saw some pretty good races on Wednesday as well.
Yeah, how good were they? The Northerly Stakes went down right to the line, and of course the Belgravia with Perfect Reflection, the Cerise and White rolling on again, and we're expecting more of the same on Saturday.
I saw a really good tweet from Brad Parnham, who of course isn't racing in WA at the moment. He just said, how many times are we going to see Mr. Bob Peters getting a trophy throughout this spring and summer carnival? And there's plenty more to come.
Oh, we saw Perfect Reflection do its prelim, and it just looks bigger and stronger than the opposition, and most of them are the same. They're so well bred, and all credit to Bob and Sandra Peters. They get everything they deserve. They put in a lot to the industry.
Well, let's focus on this Saturday and take a look at the conditions that we are going to be faced with. The track will be a good 3, the rail out 12 metres, and it should be a mostly sunny day as well, so some pretty good racing conditions in front of us. And race number 1, it is over the 1100 metres, and we've got a lot of class in this field as well.
It's a really good race, high speed, a lot of tempo in this, but I think most eyes will be on the 5 Universal Law for Grant Williams, William Pike and Bob Peters. Looks like a very hard galloper to beat.
As you said, the Cerise and White again in this race was a very impressive victory by a length last start, and we'll take a look at that replay now.
Cowboy at the top of the straight, less than 400 to go, and Belrov in front from Struggle Town, Sasso Circus, Steve Surprise, and now into the open comes Universal Law, and also down the outside with the runners Riverbend Cowboy, 150 to go, Universal Law running about, hits the front on the outside, Riverbend Cowboy, Secret Display, Pike's lifting, Universal Law, it'll do it again, Universal Law.
Yeah, simply awesome there, Universal Law on that occasion. This is where we're a bit confused because sectionally it was so strong, stronger than Perfect Reflection, which won the Belgravia, but the form from it, Riverbend Cowboy and Secret Display, didn't really come on Wednesday.
It certainly was green in that race as well, so there's a lot of improvement for Universal Law. What about number 1, Pushing Shapes? Because you analyse this form, and it beat Happy with Kendall last start, and Happy with Kendall, of course, was a very good winner at Ascot on Wednesday.
It was, and Happy with Kendall had a great run in that race and still couldn't run in the placings, whereas Pushing Shapes was in a similar position and managed to run second. So with those form lines, you'd like to think that Pushing Shapes is a genuine chance in this.
One of the other horses that I'm really intrigued about is number 3, Military Rain. Now, this horse was going around in great fashion. Of course, was beaten by Joyful Hope at Northam last start. Then we've seen, obviously, scratch the Belgravia twice, and now goes into Saturday Company with just 54.5 kilos.
I think dropping back to the 1100 metres is the key here. We look at its last equivalent run over the 1200 metres. Let it slip by about 2 lengths, and that form line, as we saw on Wednesday at Ascot, will certainly hold up.
Well, let's take a look at selections, and I'm going to be tipping number 5, Universal Law, from number 1, Pushing Shapes, number 3, Military Rain, and number 9 in High Tea.
I'm with you with number 5, Universal Law on top from 3, Military Rain, 1, Pushing Shapes, and number 7, Putri Jewel.
Race number 2 at Ascot, it is Australia race number 6. It's over the 1100 metres. I'm excited about this field because we've got some in some pretty good form. I speak of the likes of Mississippian, 12 rounds returned well. Prophet Street's been racing well, and horses that I think will just improve coming back to Ascot like a rule to win.
Yeah, and full clip as well. I think the Jim Taylor duo are certainly capable of improving at this Ascot circuit. We talk about the 8 Prophet Street. This horse just improved, didn't it, last campaign? I think it's won 3 of its last 4. But the main highlight was the run about the 5th of August to Belmont, Adam.
It certainly was. It was a really good performance, won by over a length. Proved us wrong on a couple of occasions in this campaign, so we'll take a look at that performance now.
29 Black is down near the inside. It'll get the advantage of the cutaway. And now to the outside comes Orancio. Jolly Moss headed the remainder at the 250. Dexterous Lad headed. Times are changing. Star Glitter, Prophet Street. Prophet Street coming down the middle though. It starts to hit top gear with 100 left to go. Descends upon Dexterous Lad. Schilling is battling away, but Prophet Street extends and draws clear. Prophet Street goes home.
Yeah, strong form there from Prophet Street, but this is where we get to the tricky part of assessing horses that transfer from the winter racing to the genuine summer horses. So Prophet Street still has to prove itself in my opinion. The trial was just okay.
William Pike rode it in that winner. He stays with Mississippi, and this horse has been in really good form. Obviously a winner over the 1200, then finished 3rd and 2nd. My only concern is dropping back to the 1100 because it is a back marker.
Yeah, look, it's just always going to run on and look quite fashionable in doing so. So it's probably always going to be under the odds, but it's drawn quite nicely, can settle in the middle of the field. I'm probably most intimidated about this. I've just got one ahead of it.
What about number 5, Django? It was a really good win, beating Red Aura. We have to put that into perspective. And when we spoke to trainer Joe Byrne after, he mentioned that they'd found the problem. It was a palate issue. They had it fixed, and that we should see some more consistent performances from this horse. It enjoys racing at Ascot, has a good first up record. For mine, it's certainly going to be right there in the finish.
Yeah, you have to include it, but a bit of caution there. It won its last trial leading into that previous campaign. Trialled on the 9th of October at Bunbury, and it was just a very average trial, so I'm not too sure where this galloper's at.
What about the Jim Taylor pair then? Which way are you leaning out of Full Clip and Rule to Win?
For Rule to Win, I think dropping back to the 1100 is a major positive here, and I think it can beat Mississippian.
Okay, well, let's take a look at selections then. I'm going to be tipping number 5, Django, from number 7, Mississippian, number 8, Prophet Street, and number 4, Rule to Win.
And 4, Rule to Win on top from 7, Mississippian, number 1, Full Clip, and the 5, Django.
Race number 3 at Ascot, it is Australia. Race number 8 for our Singapore viewers. Of course, it is the Group 3 Prince of Wales Stakes. And Ian, although we only have 5 runners, we've got a pretty good field.
Yeah, 3 of them in particular look incredibly hard to beat. They're all putting their hands up. We speak of the McAllister-owned Dawn Approach and Magnificio, now trained with Vaughan Sigley. And of course the 4, Delicacy. Well, she's a dual Group 1 winner, and isn't she all class?
I think we'd agree that it is a race between these 3, and we're going to take a look at the replay last start of Dawn Approach. Of course, was 3rd in the listed Birthday Stakes, beaten under a length by Blackheart Bart, which continued its form on Wednesday at Ascot. So let's take a look at that run now.
Last is Woodbine at the 350. Benito led Dawn Approach. Now letting down comes at him. It's stablemate Blackheart Bart joined in quickly though. Fuchsia Bandana, then Winkin and Odd struggling behind them. Blackheart Bart races up with 100 to go, but Dawn Approach kicks and Fuchsia Bandana starting to come through with a run. Here's Fuchsia Bandana. She's driving at Blackheart Bart. Blackheart Bart the outside with his nose in front.
It was tardy away earlier from that footage, Dawn Approach, and actually was a really strong run in the end to stick on with enough energy to hold on, only to go down by 3/4 of a length. We've seen Winkin and Nod and Blackheart Bart, of course, fight out the Northerly Stakes midweek, so Dawn Approach certainly looks hard to beat.
I agree with you completely there. What about Magnificio? As you mentioned, trained by Vaughan Sigley, Jason Brown to ride, Group 1 Winterbottom winner. You cannot ride this horse off.
Yeah, it's good memories at this distance and track. I think last year it was in this race, finished very close to Barrackey and Elite Bell, so certainly capable of doing this first up. There was no blinkers in the trial, and it's drawn well, no knock.
Number 4, Delicacy. I think all eyes are going to be on this horse. Everyone wants to see how she returns and what we're going to expect. For mine, the 1200 metres, this isn't the big picture race. As for a Dawn Approach and a Magnificio, this is where they do their best work. How do you see Delicacy returning against these runners?
Look, it's so hard to project because her recent trial was phenomenal. And then we look at its previous form lines over the 1200 metres, 1 for 1, maybe against a lesser class, but she's just pure class, and you would never want to write her off. And look, I think she should be favourite, but there's certainly others that can compete.
A bit like what we saw with Blackheart Bart on Wednesday. Some horses just know how to win, and Delicacy is one of those. And you mentioned it in the trial. Just wanted to make sure that it knuckled down late.
Well, I look at a horse like Elite Bell. Elite Bell came out and won this race over 1200 metres, and then came out and, of course, won the Railway Stakes and others along the way. So really good form lines through these Peters and Williams stable.
Let's take a look at selections then. I'm going to be tipping number 1, Dawn Approach, from its stablemate number 5, Magnificio, number 4, Delicacy, and number 2, Zesta.
I'm 4, Delicacy on top from 5, Magnificio, number 1, Dawn Approach, and 2, Zesta.
Race number 4 at Ascot, it's Australia, race number 10. It is over the 1600 metres. And Ian, last start, all the money was for number 7, Special Delivery. And geez, it got home quickly, but just ran out of room.
It was way too far back in running, but you can't really blame Clint Johnson Porter. That was just the tempo of the race, and that's where the horse normally sits. So, drawn in tight, barrier 1, William Pike on board, expecting Special Delivery to be hard to beat, but there's a lot of others in this race that can threaten.
There certainly is a good field to take a look at. Before we do that, we'll have a look at that last run, as we said, flashing down the outside, but just fell short.
Coming around the turn where Tales of Summer at the 350 was tackled by Bollywood Blitz. Around their heels comes the well-supported Chasing Chaos. They beat off Missoula. Civil Rights is running on. At the 200 though, Chasing Chaos had headed Bollywood Blitz, Tales of Summer. Civil Rights a length and a half away. It's Chasing Chaos the leader. Down the outside, Special Delivery coming with a whirlwind run. Chasing Chaos and Civil Rights went to the line. Boy, nothing in it whatsoever.
It was in another postcode Special Delivery, and it was remarkable, and it got within a long head. It was a really good performance, but sectionally that race was poor, and I just don't have a lot of confidence.
There's a horse that I'm feeling quite confident about, and it's number 6, Tonto here. I just like it with the way it meets these runners, stepping up in distance as well, back at Ascot. I just think there's a few positives for Tonto.
Look, last start I was really keen on it, but the tempo was so slow. It was a leader's day. And actually this horse improves over 1,600 metres, so I'm willing to forgive that run, give it one more chance, because I do think it has the class edge on these.
What about number 2, Halo Express? We've seen this horse run in the same grade with 59 kilos. We'll run with 55 here as a horse that can sit nice to the speed as well. I think Halo Express is right in the race.
Yeah, it will be on speed. It'll be very hard to get past. No knock from me.
Let's take a look at selections then. I'm going to be tipping number 6, Tonto, from number 7, Special Delivery, number 2, Halo Express, and number 5, Thunderclap Newman.
I'm 6, Tonto, on top from 7, Special Delivery, 2, Halo Express, and number 8, Steel Spur for giggles.
Quick,